Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Whitney is off tonight. A sentence nearly 4 decades in the making. The man found guilty of killing Ruby Doss back in 1986 will now spend more than 2 decades in prison. KREM 2 Shannon Mowdy was inside the courtroom for the sentencing of former Pasco police officer Richard Ager.
Richard Ager, a former Pasco police officer, now begins his prison sentence, 25 years, for the first-degree murder of Ruby Doss.
I'm not sure how much he understands that he was such an eraser. He changed the trajectory of my life and my sister's life in such a negative way.
In December, a Spokane County judge found Richard Ager guilty of killing Doss after a jury failed to reach a verdict in the same case in 2021. Monday, one by one, the daughters of Ruby Doss addressed the void left by her murder.
This is not just a loss for me, but a generational loss for my future family members.
1986 was the year of total devastation for me and my sisters.
The age of the crime is also a factor in Aguirre's prison term. The laws of 1986 set a strict standard for the mandatory minimum and maximum sentence. Doss's family and prosecutors asked for the max 26 years.
This was a brutal crime. It almost rose to the point where it was excessive force.
New defense attorney Todd Maybrown asked for the low end, saying the judge needed to take Aguirre's years as a police officer into account.
The court needs to recognize that Mr. Aguirre is going to be a particularly vulnerable inmate based on his law enforcement background.
While no one, including Aguirre, on his attorney's advice, spoke on his behalf, there were several letters supporting him. With his 25-year sentence, the judge said he did factor in Aguirre's age at the time of the murder, 21. But there was another number he felt carried weight in his decision.
457 months and 4 days is about the timeline from when this act occurred, and that's the amount of time that Miss Ruby Doss has been deceased, removed, as her daughters talked, the erasure of her.
Aguirre's new defense attorney has already filed a notice of appeal. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
The trial of a former Idaho State trooper accused of murdering his wife began today. Daniel Howard has been out on a $1.5 million bond since December. In February of 2021, Daniel Howard said his wife shot herself. Detectives say they did not find evidence of a suicide, saying it looked more like a homicide. Last May, Howard turned himself in. He has been charged with first-degree murder and pleaded not guilty to the charge. Today, jury selection and open arguments began. Switching gears to talk weather, it has been a busy day on the roads with a lot of crashes and slide-offs after it snowed overnight. One of the worst spots was Highway 195 south of Spangle. Troopers shut down the road for a while today. It happened this morning due to what they called extremely dangerous ice conditions. We also saw slide-offs on I-90 near Liberty Lake and a stuck semi on the ramp to Highway 395 in North Spokane. Well, tonight there's concerns for black ice forming in the coming hours. Let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo for what we need to know about that. Jeremy?
Well, Mark, when it comes to that ice, it likely forms in a lot of the areas that have seen temperatures above freezing and these rounds of snow and graupel this afternoon. That's us here in Spokane, with our temp still sitting at 33 as all of that moisture starts to work its way out. We still have it, but watch how this all works out. Our temperatures are warm enough now that even if you're down below freezing, Coeur d'Alene in the 20s, Sandpoint at 32, and Moscow at 31, it's those cars driving over the road that warms up the ground enough that everything melts. It turns to water. That water on the roadways is what is going to refreeze. Basically, all of this moisture you're seeing right now moves out. As it moves out, we clear out. Those clear skies allow our temperatures to drop. A little bit of moisture coming down in Coeur d'Alene, but here's how it goes. That works its way into Idaho and moves out overnight. Our temperatures drop. We wake up to freezing fog and cold. By tomorrow afternoon, plenty of sunshine across the region, but a few isolated spots of patchy graupel. I think tomorrow winds up more clear than cloudy, but that means our morning lows trend very, very cold. We're down in the low 20s or teens to start the day, and that means another very slick morning for many. By the afternoon, up near 40, in the 40s Wednesday and Thursday, and climbing to near 50 by the weekend.
Sounds good, Jeremy. Thank you very much. We now know the identity of the man killed in an avalanche on Friday. The body of 54-year-old Lance Gidley of Sandpoint was found under 4 feet of snow on Saturday. Boundary County Emergency Management says Gidley was snowmobiling in the southern Selkirk Mountains with a friend when that avalanche happened. A GoFundMe has been set up for the family. It currently has almost $50,000. Spokane Public Schools started a full-scale investigation for racist comments made in an elementary school newsletter. Wilson Elementary School families received that newsletter last Friday. One section suggested students dress up as slaves. The weekly newsletter sent out to families features many of the events and accomplishments at the school, but in the section about an upcoming jazz concert, it said other students could dress as slaves, hobos, or ready for a night out to the jazz clubs. The principal of Wilson Elementary quickly sent an email to parents and guardians saying school staff recognized the issue within less than 30 minutes after the newsletter came out.
Spokane Public Schools did what they needed to do as far as responding to the parents and making sure that they were aware and apologizing for anyone who was offended.
Wilson Elementary's principal also wrote in the email to parents that the contents in that newsletter, they were unacceptable and did not align with the school's values. The principal stated the content was written by an individual employee and that there will be an investigation. In a statement provided to KREM 2 News, SPS said, quote, district leadership and the Human Resources Department responded immediately upon learning of the situation, as it will be taken extremely seriously and involve a full-scale investigation. We are deeply sorry for the Wilson school community and any others who have been harmed by these actions, unquote. The school district had no further comment on the incident. All right.